Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. Did you know there's a few different ways you can support us? We have a really cool Patreon page that has some great perks for contributing. Also, we have 4 sweet shirt designs currently up on our Store Envy page. Both links will be in the description below. And no matter how you choose to support us, we are so grateful to have you on board. Enjoy the show. What is up, Hulkamaniacs?
What's up? Oh, clip the mic, sorry.
We are back. I apologize for the lengthy absence. The illness that had swept through my family, but we're back now post Christmas, and we are excited to be bringing you another freshly baked episode of Big Boys and Body Slams. Fellas,
Hey.
how's your Christmases, guys?
Hey, it was good. Did you get any wrestling-related items?
I got a Kevin Owens t-shirt.
Nice. Which Kevin Owens t-shirt did you get?
It's got like the block letters KO, and it says Kevin and then Owens on the bottom.
Ooh, nice.
I think it might be a bootleg, but it's like it feels good, you know.
Hopefully you didn't get it from the Hebners, because that's why they got fired.
Ooh, maybe I did.
Yeah.
Maybe
Kyle,
I
did you get any wrestling-related stuff?
I got the WCW Nitro book.
Nice.
The new one that's come out that Eric Bischoff has been plugging. I got that, so I'm going to have to, learn how to read again and check it out.
Beat me to it.
Been a while, huh?
Also, a buddy of mine who lives in Ohio, his name's Rich, he sent me a autograph poster from an independent show that he did that had like Glacier and Madison Rain on it.
What? Dang.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Glacier the G. I, not on Christmas, but like a week before, so I guess you can count it as Christmas.
Sure.
I had a friend, actually a listener to the podcast, named Mark. Love you, Mark. He gave me a whole bunch of his old wrestling stuff.
Nice.
Which included like a couple Mad Dog Vachon autographs, an Al Snow autograph, a ton of PWIs.
Did he give you head?
What does everybody want?
What does everybody need?
He did give me a picture with head on it.
All right, that counts.
Sweet. So I'm glad Mark gave you head.
Yeah, so you guys, it sounds like your
friend
Christmases.
of the podcast, Mark.
Sounds like your guys' Christmases were all right then.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas to everybody out there listening in podcast land.
Hope it was awesome.
And our next show will be coming to you from the new year, 2019.
Yep.
We got
This is our last show of the year.
This is our last show of the year. We made it through almost a half of a year. We started a little bit in the latter half of 2018, and we're wrapping up our first calendar year of podcasting.
and Kyle's getting his TNA fix again.
Yes, because today
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
we've got the Final Resolution 2006, which is their big end of the year / their New Year's
The New Year,
show.
yeah.
And I this is being touted as Sting's like big return to wrestling, but I think me and Luke looked it up today, and he really was only gone for like a year and a half.
Really?
No, see, Wikipedia liked to do a little play on words. It was Sting's return to national television. So since 2001, this was the first time he was on national
Which
television.
would have been what, when WCW shuttered?
folded, yeah.
When it died.
But me and Luke did learn that he was in a company called WWA, World Wrestling Alliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was the champion for a while. He beat, I believe, Lex Luger for it, lost it to Jeff Jarrett, who unified it with the NWA title.
Yeah, I did. There's a Wrestling with Regret episode on the WWA that I watched recently.
And then he did
Shout out
wrestle.
Wrestling with Regret.
Yeah,
He
Brian
wrestled
Zane's the
a
man.
few matches in TNA. One, I believe, was him and Jeff Jarrett versus AJ Styles and Six Pac, which is X Pac.
Could have never guessed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So this isn't really. He's only been gone for like a year and a half.
Okay, that's fair.
Really, but it is cool because this is Sting's big return, and there's some lead up to this. I watched some YouTube videos on the lead up to the show. One of the big storylines going in is Christian coming to TNA, and he's kind of feuding with Monty Brown and Jeff Jarrett.
And he had a bit of an undefeated streak going into
Yes, he
this show.
did. He was actually undefeated going in.
Mm-hmm.
But then he needed a partner, and that's when Sting returned. The lights went out, and there was just a battling in the ring. So I kind of remember this storyline, and I enjoyed it.
And that's the big thing, even in the video package to start the show, is it's all very Sting oriented and very Sting heavy. Obviously, that's the big story. But you also have kind of the falling out of the 3 Live Crew,
and
another story
the
kind of
four-
woven
the four
throughout.
live-
The 4 Live Crew,
and then you have
sorry,
the Raven not getting his title
Yeah, so there's a
rematch,
few-
so
there's
he's
a few
feuding with
stories.
Zbyszko. But before we get into the show, the main event is a tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Zach kind of talked about this the other day a little bit, but how do you feel about a tag team main event with the champion involved? Like, do you like that? Do you?
So in this very rare circumstance where Sting, making his national TV debut since 2001, I think it's good. I'm okay with it because, it's such a big deal with Sting, and you don't want to just throw him out there in singles competition in case he, stinks up the joint. God forbid that Steve Borden would ever do that, but I like it. It gives him credibility. There's a lot of stars.
Yeah, I think it's very circumstantial for me as well.
Yes,
but in this
yes.
in this instance, I'm totally for it. I think that if it's booked well and it's the main focus of your product, I think it can be pretty effective. Actually,
Yeah, I agree.
if you're tagging, with Mr. T going against Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper, I guess it's all right too.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think there's some times where it's good like this, or even like the one that you said, and I think there's some times that it's very misused.
Well, I wouldn't say that match was the WrestleMania 1 match was good, but
For the time, it was.
It was just a big thing to see a celebrity
Yeah.
in a wrestling ring. Should we get into the show?
Yeah.
So this is TNA Final Resolution 2006, coming to us from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. 900 people on hand. Sold out in the Impact Zone. And there is a video package to kick things off. And again, it's very Sting-oriented. Pretty well done, though. Kind of goes through the whole story and the background of Christian and then Monty Brown and Jeff Jarrett kind of cutting promos together about Sting's return to kick stuff off. A lot of new metal. Hopefully you're a new metal fan because
I love
this
new metal.
show is just riddled with mid-2000s new metal.
You know what the best new metal band is?
Linkin Park.
Limp Bizkit.
Dang it.
WWE's favorite band, Limp Bizkit.
In the world.
It's true. I will say, poor TNA couldn't find a sponsor for Final Resolution 06, so the official sponsor of Final Resolution 2006 is TNAWrestling.com.
All right.
That's it.
That's no joke.
That's it.
That's awesome.
We talked about that last night.
TNA.
So, the one thing I really liked about the video package was that it really made Sting's return feel special.
Yeah.
And really, really, really hyped it up like a lot. And not too much, but just I think it found that perfect amount of like, you got to watch this because Sting. Yeah, that Sting is coming back.
You know what? At first, there was something I kind of found hokey, but then I thought about it and I really liked it. They did the pre-match graphics,
Yeah.
and they didn't have a picture of Sting. They just had the Scorpion. And at first, I was like, that's really lame. But then I thought about it, I'm like, nobody's seen Sting.
Exactly.
Like they were really
hyping it. They were even hyping up like the Mike Tenay and Don West were even hyping up. We don't know what version of Sting we're gonna get.
True.
They were that was like a point throughout the night and
The mystique.
Exactly.
I thought they did a very good job of hiding it.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
It's kind of a similar way that they built up Taker's return at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
They never showed
Definitely.
him. Never showed him. It was just voices from the PA, lights going out, all that sort of a thing. So yeah, they definitely kept the mystique. But you can't lie, Kyle. That graph, it's a huge scorpion. Like, it's just Christian standing next to a huge
giant
scorpion.
2D JPEG of a scorpion.
It was kind of
Clip
goofy,
art,
but it
just
was fun.
There were a few kind of corny things on this show.
Yeah.
So then, actually, something else that's interesting. We got some nice TNA pyro to start the show. Makes me miss pyro in WWE.
I miss pyro.
And then we do have Don West and Mike Tenay on commentary. And right away, we're going to start
Don
the match
West,
off.
Hold on. Don West
Yeah, please.
wearing just some ridiculous shit. Like that, what was it?
It's like a purple shirt.
The purple metallic shirt and the tie. Oh my
It
goodness.
was very 2000, like mid 2000s.
Also, real quick, sorry, Zach.
No, you're good.
Don West and Mike Tenay, are they like the most hype announce team
I
ever?
loved them.
Like,
Dude,
are they
during
the
that,
yelliest? Are they the yelliest?
I don't know. You got Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness on NXT
good
that are
point.
very, very yelly.
Yeah.
Don West got a bad reputation as not a good announcer, but I enjoyed him. He was just so hype, and
He's the Flava Flav of wrestling.
He was just kept you hype all show.
It was really nice, especially like they hit their spots in the show and they got excited when they needed to, but it never felt like too much. I thought this was actually a very good, like a well energized commentary team on this night, which is not something you could always say about Mike Tenay.
Correct.
but-
Especially WCW days.
Yeah, in the WCW days particularly. But here he was, especially in that Rhino and Abyss match, like they were losing their minds.
Don just lifts him up, man.
Yep.
How can you not be right next to Don West and just be hype as hell?
Yeah. Should we get into the first match?
Yeah,
Do it.
this match has got some names.
Yeah, so check this out. We got a 6-man tag. Alex Shelley, Roderick Strong, and Austin Aries versus Matt Bentley, accompanied by Tracy, Sanjay Dutt, and Chris Sabin. How about that for a who's who of mid-2000s TNA X Division talent?
I mean, you got a who's who of guys that are still currently doing something
Yeah.
with Roderick Strong, Austin Aries, and Chris Sabin.
Was anybody else like kind of blown away at the like transformation Austin Aries has made in 12 years.
Oh,
He looks like a different person now.
What?
He was stacked back then. Not that
Dude,
he's
he
in
looks
bad
the
shape
same
now.
to me, except
Bro.
that
Really?
he's growing up.
I think his physique has changed a lot.
So yes, he was more stacked back then, but he's literally the same greasy face.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
The same exact hair, same exact facial hair. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it though.
Hey, Luke, do you have anything else to say about anybody else in this match?
Uh-oh.
Tracy
Ooh.
Brooks, maybe?
But. Those are shots.
Oh my God! Yeah, so sorry. The biggest of bosom shots. Good Lord!
It was funny because Matt Bentley, the crowd would bounce with him,
Yeah.
and they said there was a Bentley bounce, and then
They called it the Tracy's
Don,
bounce.
yeah, Don West called it the Tracy bounce.
She's dressed like a schoolgirl here.
I mean, they just really were just like, okay, so how much cleave
Can we get away with?
can we show
Right
here?
off the bat.
Also, right off the bat, slick Christopher Daniels Johnson in the ring.
Slick John, and you know what?
Oh, yeah.
How nice was it to see Slick Johnson? Some people are Paul Heyman guys. I'm a Slick Johnson guy.
Hell no. I'm a Slick Johnson guy.
He's the best ref of all time.
Best.
And
Zach.
we got proof that he is not the same person as Christopher
So
Daniels.
I have that
this
later
show.
on. I have that later on
They
my
might
notes.
be twin brothers,
No,
but they're
I think-
officially not the same person.
I think Christopher Daniels is just the greatest magician of all time.
That's
He's a fallen
possible.
angel, you know.
That's possible.
He can do stuff.
Let's get into this match here. Again, just what a talented group of guys to open the show with. So Shelley and Sabin start. There's a big kick to Shelley. Then Duck gets tagged in right away. He gets powerbombed right onto Shelley for a near fall by his own partner. It was like a Hurricane Rana powerbomb kind of move. Interesting double team maneuver there. And then Roddy Strong comes on. He tries getting backbreakers on Duck, but Duck kind of counters them all into like a series of arm drags. Bentley comes in, and then a little bit later on, there's some big strikes to Roddy in the corner, and then Aries gets tagged in. And this is when the announcers start drooling over Tracy, and they call it the Tracy bounce because she's at ringside
Bouncing.
bouncing
The bosom.
They are just drooling over her. Kind of a little bit of creepy old man going on, but hey, it's all right. It's all
Hey,
right.
you know what? Jerry Lawler gets away with it, man.
That's true.
Let some other guys.
That's right. No, that's a fair point. Aries gets beaten up here in the opponent's corner for a good long time. Then there's a bridging suplex for a Bentley near fall, and then Bentley tags in Dutt, who comes back in. He tries for the sprinkler, which is like the top rope kind of move.
Yeah.
When he like bounces on the top rope, but he gets crotched right away. And that didn't work out. I was kind of wanting to see the move because it was a move I'm not that familiar with. And they said he's going for the sprinkler, and I'm like, that sounds like a move I'd want to see. And he even did the dance too.
Do you remember the sprinkler?
I do, yeah.
The playa from the Himalaya.
Yeah. Also, randomly in this match, you see both Dave Hebner
Bleach blonde.
Yeah, Dave Hebner in the crowd.
and Jerry Lynn on the entrance just watching.
Jerry Lynn like wearing old man
Dad
glasses.
wrestling coach. Wrestling coach Jerry
just
Lynn.
like hanging out at the ringside. And so Dave Hebner, and he made a few appearances on the show, and like it never went anywhere.
Nope.
He just showed up. He showed up in the was it the Abyss and the Rhino match that he showed up in as well?
Yeah.
And he showed up in the entrance ramp there. He was in the crowd in this match, but it like never went anywhere. I was like, where's this gonna go? What's the talent relations guy gonna do? And he never did anything. Just worth noting. And then we get a triple team double stomp by the heel team, which is of course Strong, Shelley, and Aries. So two of the gentlemen were held down. The third man came in, did the double stomp. I thought that was an interesting triple team move there, and that led to a near fall for Alex Shelley as he tagged into the match at that moment. And then he tags Roddy in right away. And then this is when we see Hebner. Then there's a backbreaker near fall for Strong, and then Aries comes back in. He drapes Dutt onto the top rope and then just kicks him right in the chest. Sends Dutt outside. There's more dirty triple team work here by the heels. Shelley comes in. Knight gets a nice looking crossfit on Dutt, and then he kind of adjusts it into like a horizontal surfboard armbar type maneuver.
There you go.
I don't know exactly what it's called.
No,
but
that was technically correct.
Thank you. And then Dutt fights back a little bit here, and then there's a tornado DDT to Strong. Sabin gets tagged in, and Sabin was probably the most over person in this match, by the way.
Yes, he was.
Because when he got the hot
Sabin.
tag here, the crowd went crazy, and then Shelley gets tagged in. They were kind of the two that were going back and forth a lot against each other in this match. Shelley gets put in a tree of woe, and then Sabin hits a basement dropkick, and then like a flying basement dropkick, kind of like Finn Balor does to his opponent to get him into the corner, but he did that in the tree of woe position. Strong comes in and gets involved here, gets taken out, and then there's a Sabin and Zaguri, and then Bentley comes in, hits a top rope elbow. Aries breaks up the pin though. There's an arm drag to Shelley for a near fall. Roddy interferes, gets a big backbreaker on Bentley. Then he gets taken out by Dutt. Dutt gets sent out by Aries. Aries gets sent out by Sabin, and then Sabin does a suicide dive onto Aries on the outside. Back in the ring here, Bentley and Shelley are still the legal men. Matt Bentley tries for a super kick, but he gets hit with a drop kick, and then which by Roddy, which he should have seen coming, by the way. because
Yes, yeah.
it was very much in his peripheral vision. I thought that was kind of silly. I had to make a note of that. He definitely could have seen Roddy coming, but it was a cool looking spot, I guess, nonetheless. And then Roderick Strong gets distracted by Tracy and then eats a super kick by Bentley, and then Shelley gets the roll up for the pinfall victory off of that distraction. So Shelley, Strong, and Aries win the match. It was about 17 minutes or so. I thought it was a pretty good opening match. A lot of fun stuff here. A lot of quick X Division work. I give it 3.5.
I gave it 3.25. I thought it was a hot start to the show. Hot Tracy, hot. The crowd was hot for Sabin.
Sabin was hot too. He's got that little metrosexual haircut.
Dude,
Yeah,
frosted tip. There were frosted tips everywhere on the
Yeah,
show.
I like him with long hair better, but
'Cause you had Sabin with the frosted tips, Shelley with the frosted tips, Jeremy Borash had frosted tips.
Oh my gosh.
Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Dan. Wait, what?
Nice.
But yeah, 3.25. It's cool to see these guys kind of young
Yeah.
and seeing where they're at now, especially like
sure.
Aries, Strong, and Sabin.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that Sabin got to hold the belt for a while in Impact. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel
he
like
deserved it.
Yeah,
I
he
feel
did.
like of all of those three guys that you just mentioned, Roderick Strong to me he's like the same guy.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
His in-ring work, he has not slowed down at all. I don't know how young he was here. I imagine he was pretty young.
Oh, he was
but,
super young.
I mean, just seeing his work now and comparing
He
it to
hits
then,
so
like,
hard.
He ages like wine. He's just getting better and better
Like,
even to this day.
The way he sells his offense is incredible.
Yeah. Luke, what'd you think of the match?
I gave it 3.5,
Nice.
like you, sir. I mean, it's a classic X Division opener. I feel like TNA, if there's one thing, technically X Division, I guess, but if there's one thing that TNA had down pat, it was the X Division matches and those openers.
Yeah.
Like, they were just able to get the crowd going right away. This is just a car crash between 6 very talented individuals. One name we didn't mention here, Kyle, Sanjay Dutt. He was they were saying he was basically the up-and-comer in TNA.
Yeah,
And Sanjay Dutt, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, still with the company.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
He's
he
actually
is.
injured right now, so he's on the
The IR.
the creative
IR,
team.
yeah.
Oh, creative. Nice.
So this show was how long ago? 2006?
12 years
12.
ago.
12 years ago. So he
Almost
was
to the money. Almost
so
on the
he
dot.
Eat the
Roderick
mic.
Strong was about 23.
Wow. So he was very young.
Yeah, he was just getting
That's
going.
awesome.
Yeah, so 3.5. A lot of these guys are young, so it's kind of benefit of the doubt, but man, that's such a stacked match.
I know.
Yeah,
so
good stuff.
It could have been a little bit better, but it was
Yeah.
still really good.
So after that, we get a video package that is hyping up, kind of not hyping up, but recapping all the soap opera of drama that's been going on with the For Life crew. So you have a story where Conan and BG James, who is the road dog, are kind of having some civil disagreements.
Well, it was basically so like Kip James came into the group, made him
Yeah.
4 Live Crew, and Conan.
Which is Billy Gunn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Should
Yeah,
have said.
no, you're good.
But and Conan never trusted him or agreed with him, even though he was clearly just trying to help.
So he decided to assault the road
being a
dog's
reckless
dad.
little gangster.
Well, then they broke up,
Yeah,
Yep.
they broke up from
and
4 Live Crew.
then Conan aligned himself with Homicide and Apollo.
Yep.
Which Apollo was the original big man of the LAX.
Yep. And so they formed LAX.
Yep. And then they assaulted the James gang, and Bullet Bob Armstrong came back, who's a legend, and tried to get everybody to work out their problems. And the LAX beat up
and
Bullet Bob.
LAX pooped on him.
So basically, you have 3LK kind of branching off into 3 separate entities. You have
The LAX,
the LAX,
the James gang.
and then you have Run Killings.
And then you have, as always, by his lonesome, Ron the
Yeah.
Truth Killer.
No, not by his lonesome, because he's got some pretty good
That's
company
right.
these days.
That's true. So that's kind of the story going into this match.
Also,
Yeah.
this is the first time that these two have just tagged straight up.
Yeah, this is the first time they're made a
TNA.
comeback in TNA. That's an interesting point to make. This is their first match as the James Gang.
They later would become Voodoo Kin Mafia.
Yes,
Yeah,
they would.
If you were hoping to see that storyline play out in this match at all,
Sorry.
sorry, because spoiler, it's not going to.
Weird, yeah.
The match is going to be Diamonds in the Rough, who is David Young and Elix Skipper, accompanied by Simon Diamond, versus the James Gang, Kip and BG James. BG is the road dog, Kip is Billy Gunn, just to reiterate there. So pre-match, Kip and BG cut it's a total classic New Age Outlaws promo, but somehow it's even cornier than it was when they were the New Age Outlaws. This was
well, because they can't say Road Dog, they can't say Badass
This was
Billy
big
Gunn.
yikes. Like I was blushing.
Oh,
watching this.
you were really. So you got to understand, man.
I thought it was pretty
In
cringy.
06, that was probably great fan service.
Oh yeah, but I actually enjoyed it until Kip said he had 3 words for you.
And then he said 6 words.
He said 5.
5 words. And then
I said
today
6
even
last night
pointed
too,
out.
and every time I'd say 6, Luke would say it's
Oh, it's
5.
because get it? Get it, got it, good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 words.
Get it, got it, good.
And then today was like, well, that might have been more than 3 words, but hey, Kip James is never a math guy. He's just a wrestling guy, It's tough.
Oh, and
he's also an ass man.
We should note that Elix Skipper, primetime Elix Skipper, currently is the manager of an Applebee's, unfortunately.
Whoa. Don't say unfortunately.
Maybe he's happy.
No,
Maybe
he
he's
should
happy.
still be main eventing shows.
You got to give him some respect there. He's doing whatever, he wants with his life. I do not understand, though, how he's still not in some sort of athletic profession.
He should still be wrestling. That guy was amazing.
Yeah, he was very talented.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not putting him down for working at Applebee's. I'm putting him down for...
Unfortunately, he's not still in the wrestling
I'm not
biz.
putting him down. I'm putting down everybody else.
It's just
Sorry, Dad.
interesting to see how
Love you.
you see these people, in these wrestling shows, particularly from this era and before. And when you think about them, you think, well, they must still be doing something in the industry, or they're doing fine, or they've got a good retirement going on. But the reality is, so many of these people end up, in normal jobs,
Or just broke.
and so many and so many people will never even know who they were. It's just an interesting thing to think
I really
about.
think we've turned the corner on that, and we can have a whole nother conversation about that. But
Yeah.
Wrestlers these days they just seem like they have their stuff together, man.
Yeah,
They've really
definitely.
taken the old ones as an example, and saving your money, blah blah blah, not doing a ton of drugs, destroying your body.
Yeah, it used to be like this Wild West industry,
Oh,
right?
dude, it was a rock star lifestyle.
Yeah, and now it's very much like
clean cut and professional.
Yeah. We'd like to think, anyways. I mean, I'm sure there's some stuff going on.
Well, there's some stuff that we don't know.
Should we get into this
leaked
match?
out
yeah,
anyway.
get on the match.
So BG and Skipper are going to start things off. Skipper gets a lot of early offense here, is working over BG, and I thought BG, I'm just going to call him Road Dogg in this instance, I thought he looked very slow, out of shape, and lethargic in this match.
He was out of shape.
And
yes.
we just saw a BG James match a few months prior to this when we did Bound for Glory 05. Even in that few month span, I thought he looked much better than he did here. Like,
Yep.
what happened in those few months to him? Because he looked terrible.
No. You got to. So this is January of 06, and then we watched Bound for Glory in 06. So that was.
we watched Bound for Glory of 05.
Oh, did we?
Which was what, mid-year, like October,
October,
yeah.
yeah.
So in that few, what
okay.
happened in a few months to him?
Yeah.
Was it the way he was dressed tonight? I don't know. There's something about him that just, he looked off to me the whole match. So then Kip gets tagged in, and then Young gets tagged in, and they exchange grapples and into the corner. The Diamonds both get taken out. The Diamonds and the Ref both get taken out by the James gang here on a couple tag team moves. There's a big spine buster from Young to BG, and then Skipper comes back in. BG gets kicked hard in the back for a near fall as he's like in a seated position, and then Young comes in. There's a basement drop kick by Young. Kip makes it a ref distraction here, which causes a near fall instead of a likely victory. And then James gets up top, misses a moonsault. Both men are down here. And then Kip comes back in. There's a power slam to Young. He takes out Simon Diamond on the apron, who gets involved. Then he misses a corner splash on the Skipper. And then there's a lariat to Skipper for a near fall. And then Kip James hits a slam. I didn't catch the name of this move. It was like a...
Was this the finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tasmanian suplex.
Yeah, it was like a Tasmanian bomb almost. Not necessarily a suplex. It was
I mean,
It was more of a suplex than a bomb.
Was it? Yeah.
you're the one who didn't know what it was called.
I know, that's true. I guess I
Tasmanian
should just
suplex.
say- Yeah. And that was the end of the match, and the James gang win. I thought this was a very average match.
Very.
I give it 2.5 stars. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it just didn't... I forgot about it almost instantly. Like, if that's any indication of how mediocre this match was. It wasn't offensive, it just wasn't very good.
I thought it was the worst match on the card. I still gave it a 2. It just didn't. It was just so average and so bland. I much would have rather seen the LAX versus the James gang or something around that. And it was weird that they didn't play that into this match. Like,
Yeah, I thought for sure, I was 100% sure going into that match that the video package I had just seen and that angle and that whole story was
Yeah,
going to
Conan
play
was
into this
gonna
match.
interfere or something.
And it did not at all. Like, there was not nary a hair of any of those people in this match, and it was odd to me.
Yep.
It was very strange.
So 2, my least favorite match of the night, just because it was bland, nothing else.
It was not mine, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, mine neither. But I actually gave it 2 3/4.
Okay.
I mean, it was good to get that, the old Road Dogg and Billy Gunn connection. Also, so 2 things. One, Elix Skipper has always looked really weird to me. Like, just physically, he looks very disproportionate.
Yeah.
So, like, he looks like he has Shelton Benjamin's body, and then, like, a smaller, like, Adrian Peterson / Damon Wayans head. Oh, you're just going to talk trash about me off camera? Or off camera? Off microphone?
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, Elix Skipper looks weird. Also, Kyle, I remember you saying while we were watching this that Kip James did not look like he was in the best shape of his life.
No, like when he went to WWE, like after this, dude was just jacked.
Has he ever looked out of shape though?
No, I'm not saying he looked out of
necessarily.
shape. I was just saying he doesn't look like he's in prime Billy Gunn shape.
Compared to BG James, he looked like a freaking world champion bodybuilder.
But when Billy Gunn went back to WWE and he had that tag team title run, and then they teamed with like CM Punk against the Shield and stuff.
Oh yeah,
dude was just huge.
Well, and even now, have you seen some of his more recent photos he's been sharing on Instagram? He looks like a monster now.
He's been teaming with his boy Austin.
Yep.
And so I gave that one 2 3/4 stars. And then we had friend of the pod Shane Douglas.
Yeah,
interviewing Christopher. I can't believe it's not Slick Johnson Daniels.
I know. So basically, he says Christopher Daniels says that Joe is a liar and he says things that aren't true, and that he's gonna beat him tonight and win that title, the X Division Championship. He said it much more eloquently than that. The thing that I noticed about this, I mean, obviously it was a great promo. Christopher Daniels can talk like nobody's business. Very believable character, very good worker. How the hell did he never get a real fair shake in the WWE?
Yep.
That's one of the biggest pro wrestling mysteries.
Agree.
He's not 6'8" with 300 pounds of muscle on him.
But you got to understand, like all those TNA main event guys it feels like they eventually made it over there.
Yeah, he's the exception.
Yeah, he is.
No, I agree, and
I don't understand why.
At least he got a Ring of Honor title run.
He's amazing.
He's incredible.
He's amazing. I mean, it can't be a character thing because his character is so great too. Like a lot of the TNA guys, if you look at them, are not even TNA, but a lot of the smaller promotions. Like even if they were great workers, it was always that other half they were missing. You know, it was always the character work and the storytelling. But he has that in spades. He's one of the biggest mysteries to me of why he never got a real chance.
I'm just happy that Ring of Honor gave him that title run, even though it was just brief.
It was a very short run, but it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was really cool.
He's the unsung hero by far to me
of TNA.
Of
Mount Rushmore, baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. After that, we get a match that when I saw this match on the card, I was
fully erect.
You were Hiroshi Tanahashi.
I was Tanahashi'd up because this is Hiroshi Tanahashi versus AJ Styles, and the announcers are really putting over how this is like a big international matchup and how they have Tanahashi on loan from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he's even got his U30 belt, which is the under 30 championship, around his waist as he comes out.
I didn't even notice that.
How cool is it to see both of these guys still going so strong 12 years after this? Obviously, AJ just finished up maybe the best run of his career
yes,
as the WWE champion, and Hiroshi Tanahashi is main eventing Wrestle Kingdom here next week or in 2 weeks. I mean, how cool is it to see these two guys still just masters at their craft? I don't know what's going to happen with Tanahashi because I know his body is really starting to kind of catch up to him, but how cool is it to see both guys still in the main event scene after all these years?
I'm going to check to see what their respective ages were.
Yes, do that. I'm going to get into the match while you're doing that.
Please do it.
So the crowd is split here. About half of them are going for AJ chants, half of them are doing her Tanahashi chants. They exchange waist locks to start the match. Then they exchange arm drags. Tanahashi transitions into an arm bar onto AJ. And then there's a big drop kick by AJ a little bit later on. Hiroshi rolls out of the ring to catch his breath. AJ goes for a springboard move to the outside, but Tanahashi moves out of the way, and AJ catches himself and does not jump over. That's a nice, smart, logical booking there between the two. They trade big forearm strikes for a while. Then there's an AJ scoop slam, a nice release German to AJ, dropped him right on his neck there. Good looking suplex. There's a standing elbow, rolling senton combo for a Tanahashi near fall there. Then both men try to apply the sleeper. Only Tanahashi can sink it in though. And then he transitions that into the dragon sleeper. Tanahashi misses a top rope elbow, which AJ manages to fight back. He hits an enziguri and then a phenomenal forearm to Tanahashi. There's a suplex, like a setup into a neckbreaker for an AJ Styles near fall, and a full Nelson slam for a Tanahashi near fall, then a sling blade to Styles for another Tanahashi near fall. And both men are battling on the top rope here a little bit later on. There's a side suplex. It kind of gets countered into like a crossbody from the top rope by AJ. Both men are down after that move. And then Tanahashi ducks an enziguri, and then Shannon Moore comes in with this Wrestler of the Year award that AJ had
TNA.
won. Yeah, Mr. TNA.
There you go.
Award that AJ had won that he had stolen, and that's kind of the storyline they had. He goes to hit AJ with it. AJ ducks out of the way, hits Tanahashi with it. AJ Pele kicks Moore, and then Styles clash to Tanahashi for a victory in 11 and a half minutes.
I'm surprised it was that long.
I really liked this match, but that ending was
poop.
That was that's kind of the story of the show for me. A lot of overbooked endings to like these really good matches.
So this was a feud between Shannon Moore and AJ Styles,
right?
he had been stealing this award from AJ for a couple weeks leading up to this. And if I remember correctly, they feuded for a little bit, and Shannon Moore actually got a pinfall, and then all of a sudden was just out of TNA because he was working on an open contract, and then just went and signed back with WWE.
Oh,
and
wow.
fucked him
Really?
over hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That fun fact from my wrestling forum days.
Yeah, I
Proud of you.
thought I still thought this was a very good match. Very obvious that you're watching 2 stars in the making here. I still gave it 3 stars. I really didn't like that ending, but it didn't bring it down too much for me. What do you guys think?
I hated the ending, and I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I still gave it 3.5 because it was just, no pun intended, but phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you would have given them 10 more minutes, this could have been a 4.5 star match. Definitely.
Oh, for sure.
I also gave it 3.5.
Nice, dude. Nice.
Yeah, dude. Sweet. Great minds think alike.
Fist bump fail. That's for you, Greg.
Oh, Hey.
Hey. But I mean, this could have been a classic. This could have been a Meltzer 5-star with a better tempo. Are you okay? Did you? On that soda?
Oh,
You
yeah,
just mentioned Dave Meltzer, and I think it made him a little ill.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Better tempo and more time could have been a classic. And I think, so I get the Shannon Moore rivalry, whatever. I mean, it seemed very childish, especially once AJ got their award back. And
then he steals it back.
He steals it back and like,
Yeah, and
AJ's just like, damn it.
Yeah.
Give it back to me.
I just think that, especially when you have him on loan from New Japan, like you have this opportunity
To really do something.
Yeah, like why even put Shannon in there? You could have done it after the pin.
Yeah.
And by the way, Tanahashi here, so he's 42 now.
Yeah.
He was 30. Which
AJ's
is
around
weird
the same age, right?
Yes, he was 29 here, which Tanahashi might have technically been 29 because you said he was wearing the U30
Yeah,
belt.
yeah.
When's Tanahashi's birthday?
Oh gosh,
I-
I'm not going to go
Because
back.
He was 29.
this was in January, so
yeah.
right.
Well, they
Good
mentioned
point.
that he was 29, I believe. During the match.
So you were just not going to say that, or
I was just gonna let you, just
thanks, just
go
struggle.
on,
Sure, yeah, 3.5 stars.
Awesome.
It definitely could have been better in a classic, but
Okay.
I digress.
I agree.
Wow.
So after that match, there's a video package kind of going over the next match, which is going to be Raven versus a mystery opponent. So the whole storyline behind this is that Larry Zbyszko, who's kind of running things, he's kind
the
of
authority figure.
Yeah, for TNA at the time, really doesn't like Raven that much and wants him out of business. Keeps getting his goonies to attack him, and eventually there's a stipulation made that Raven will have to be in a no DQ match against a mystery opponent. If he wins that match, he gets a title shot. If he loses that match, his contract is gone.
And this isn't the first mystery opponent. He also faced Chris Kanyon and Just Incredible leading up to this match on other pay-per-views.
Okay. Were those
Attaboy.
were those sorry, I don't have this at the top of my head, but were those the stipulation matches as well?
I believe so, yes.
Career matches for Raven. Okay.
And this was all over because I think you might have said it that Zbyszko wouldn't give him his title shot.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Yep. So he's gonna get it if he wins tonight. And then, so after that video package, we go. Shane Douglas interviews Raven in like an attic. It looks like
Who's just chilling with candles.
Yeah, with candles all over the place. And I have to say, I love Raven. Man, I thought his delivery was so bad in this promo. I thought he sounded so like disinterested, and he would have rather been doing anything. And I love Raven, but I don't know. There's something about the way he was handling himself and the way he was speaking. His content he was saying was very riveting and very interesting, but his delivery just sounded so wooden and so stilted to me.
I don't think it was the best promo of Raven's career, but I don't think it was bad either. I think he was playing up the fact that he was anxious. He wanted to get out there and get it done because he didn't want to lose. He mentioned that if he lost wrestling, he would kill himself.
Yeah, he said he was going to blow his brains out.
Which
if he
was
doesn't
a
have
very
wrestling.
awkward thing.
That I have to admit, that made
that's
me,
a very Raven thing to
that
say.
made me kind of chuckle out loud. I think it was just the way he said it.
Nice, dude.
I know.
Monster.
So after that, Raven. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
Luke.
got some stuff from that.
I'm sorry, Luke.
You're right. I mean, it did seem a little wooden, but at the same time, it's kind of Raven shtick.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he's indifferent. He's the grunge.
Yeah.
He's the grunge guy. But anyway, there was he referred to talking about Larry Zbyszko, said, "Zbyszko, you look like a festering piece of dung shat out of a diseased yak." And then he replied with a question: "Don't you have better things to do, like filing paperworks and tossing salads?" And some chatter in the background.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. It just, you just missed the part about Raven saying that Zbyszko tosses salads. But,
Oh yeah, I heard that when it happened.
yeah,
It was good
filing
stuff.
paperwork, tossing salads.
Yeah. So then after
That was
that,
it.
okay, Zbyszko is in the ring, and I gotta say, the way the Zbyszko was dressed, he was wearing this like button-down like big dog shirt when they're all on motorcycles.
I told you it was big dog.
He looked like a chain smoker who would hang out at the bowling alley that Shawn Michaels works at.
Totally.
Does he not?
Nowadays Shawn Michaels.
He
probably doesn't even bowl. He just goes into the bar, drinks, eats the mini corn dogs,
and talks
he bowls
trash.
2 games, right?
And talks trash to everyone else and tries to tell them they're doing it wrong.
That's totally the vibe Zbyszko is giving off here. I love Larry Zbyszko. Every time he's appeared on a TNA show, I've been just over the moon.
I love the character that he had.
I love it.
And then, so can we get to who the mystery partner is?
Yeah, so
because I have a bone to pick on this one.
So Zbyszko's in the ring. He says, "You're never gonna guess, but your opponent is X-Pac, Sean Waltman."
And we're never gonna guess because what did Raven and Sean Waltman have in common?
Had they ever even touched in their lives before?
They probably had a match on like Sunday Night Heat back in the day.
Yeah.
But when Raven was in ECW, Waltman was in WWF and WCW.
Yeah.
And then when he went to WCW, Waltman was in WWE.
It just seemed so random.
And then also, Zbyszko accidentally called him X-Pac.
Yeah.
Because that's trademarked by WWE. He's like,
Cease and
X-Pac.
desist.
Sean Waltman. Yeah.
He was 6 Pac here, I think.
Yeah, he had the 6-pack tights on.
Right, but they were calling him Sean Waltman and Waltman throughout the match.
Yeah.
So, right after the bat, Raven chases Larry Zbyszko around the ring and just walks right into...
You need to mention that he walks in with a cart full of
of
garbage.
course. I thought that kind of went without saying.
Because you know it's about to go down.
But he
when
walks
Raven
out. Of course,
walks in.
Raven comes out with a shopping cart full of trash and weapons and trash cans and all that fun stuff. So right off the bat, Raven chased Zbyszko on the outside of the ring, and then 6-pack hits Raven with a trash can lid. And then the match starts after that. Pac abuses Raven with a kendo stick in the ring, gets some nice shots. That kendo stick did not last very long. 2 shots, it was done. Raven does recover, and he hits 6-pack with a trash can. Raven gets busted open, even though the trash can hit him in the back. I don't know.
The most blatant blade job I've ever seen.
I don't know how that happened, but he's busted open, bleeding from the head here. Raven goes after Zbyszko again, and then Pac jumps over the top rope, takes everyone out, and then he rams Raven with a shopping cart several times up the entrance ramp, and then Raven smashes 6-pack with a trash can lid, and then Raven puts 6-pack in the cart, and then he goes to shove it off the entrance ramp. Waltman falls out and just takes a nasty bump on his tailbone and like bounces off of the end of the entrance ramp before he falls off the stage. That like very ouchy.
At first I thought that was a botch.
Yeah.
But imagine if you'd have thrown that cart off the ramp.
I know.
I don't know. Like they might have meant to save.
Maybe
I don't know.
that's possible.
I have no clue.
So then the shoe's on the other foot here because then 6-pack gets ran over with the shopping cart a few times. Then Raven grabs a table from under the ring as well as a ladder. And then Raven accidentally takes out the ref in one of the weirdest and most sloppy looking ref bump spots I've ever seen. Somebody wasn't in the right spot or something because like Raven looked like he went out of his way. Basically, he was going for a clothesline. X-Pac ducked out of the way, but the timing wasn't really right, and it looked like Raven just targeted the ref. It was kind of ugly. And there's a Raven hits the Raven DDT. It was called something else. But
Raven effect?
Yes.
Even flow.
And there's no ref to count here. Zbyszko comes in to be the ref, and then he gets a screwy near fall where he counts 1, 2. There's a slight delay on the 3 count. I didn't think it was I didn't think he went far enough with it, with the whole referee thing. Like I feel like
he should have been more heelish.
It was just like a normal, like it was 1, 2, and then he was going for 3, and it was the near fall there, and that happened a couple times here. Raven gets punched right in the dick. Yay!
Oh, we knew you would love that.
Dick trauma. There's an X Factor for a near.
It was a shitty X
worst
Factor.
X
Really
Factor,
bad, and
the
it was
worst
so
one I've
bad.
ever seen.
It was so bad that the announcers didn't even call it an X Factor. They were like, he hits him with a modified bulldog.
And even Tori has never hit an X Factor that
That was
terrible.
bad.
It was terrible. That was a near fall there. So again, he's kind of just being a ref here.
And then X-Pac whips
Raven with a weight belt,
and it hits him in the face.
Yeah.
And then it was the buckle part too.
Yeah.
That in the face. So then he props up a ladder at an angle. He lays Raven on the ladder, and then he goes for a Bronco Buster, but he misses, crashes right into the ladder. Another screwy, in quotes, screwy near fall by Zbyszko. The table gets set up, and then a ladder gets set up. Both men kind of climb the ladder, and they're brawling. Zbyszko kind of grabs at Raven's foot for a second, which is the most dirty thing he did in the match.
Yep.
Raven fights him off, and then an X Factor from 3/4 up the ladder, through the table. Zbyszko's got to move the table debris out of the way. He counts to 3. Even though Raven got his foot on the ropes after 2, but it honestly looked like he just didn't see it. Again, they really could have pushed that a little bit farther, I think.
Right.
So Six-Pack wins. Raven is gone. The match lasts 8 minutes. If you were wondering, Raven would come back approximately 3 months later in April.
Did you? Well, the stipulation was that was Jim Cornette was hired to be the TNA management because Larry Zbyszko was, wow, you just hit yourself in the face
did right
with that.
with the mic. Took a bump.
Boy.
Larry Zbyszko, since he was screwing talent over, they brought in Jim Cornette, who brought in brought Raven back.
So at least there was a story.
And they had a
reason
match,
why
and they had a
brought him back.
match too, I believe.
Oof. Yeah, so it was 8 minutes. I really didn't like this match, like, at all. In fact, I kind of hated this match. The only fun spot for me was the X Factor off of the ladder. Everything else just, it felt like a backyard wrestling match I'd be watching on a VHS tape. It was really bad. I gave it 1.75 stars, and the only reason I rated it that high was 1 for Larry Zbyszko's shirt and 2 for that X Factor.
I actually gave it 2.25. I enjoyed it. I thought it was just kind of fun. It wasn't anything like serious, I guess. It was kind of a come down match and kind of a low point before you get to the Joe and Daniels match. Kind of to give a crowd the breather, the buffer.
This match was bad. No, I gave it 2 stars, and I'm honestly thinking I might go a little bit lower, but I'll stick with 2. It felt like at times, like there were certain parts, especially with the shopping cart. Like, you guys remember the show Jackass? Like, it seriously
No,
felt,
I've never heard of it.
Shut up. It seriously felt like Bam Margera and Johnny Knoxville trying to wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, there was some terrible botches.
Yeah, it looked like a backyard wrestling match.
Honestly, I don't want to be judgmental, but both Raven and Six-Pac might have both been blasted during this match. Like,
It's quite possible.
I mean, it just looked, it was sloppy. And Zbyszko, you're totally right, did not sell which side he was on enough. Because, in fact, with with one of the Six-Pac pins, I'm pretty sure he was delayed on the third.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was. That was on the X Factor.
So it was like, it didn't make any sense, and another just weird finish.
Yep.
And then they just like, they made Raven feel so bad.
So after what happened after this was really weird. So
It was stupid.
so we cut backstage.
Wait. So Zbyszko makes him leave, right?
Yeah, so he says security's going to come out and escort him out.
And Raven walks out, and Dawn West is like, Raven, you were screwed.
Yeah.
And he's like
got robbed.
and he's trying to like pat Raven on the back, and Raven totally doesn't even look at him.
No sells it.
Just no
He
sells
just
everything and walks
right
away.
past him, yeah.
And I was just cracking up.
Right in front of the camera.
So then, so Raven gets escorted backstage. They're really sad. And then it cuts to an interview. Ron Killings is getting interviewed by Shane Douglas.
Oh, boy.
And he's just like hooping it up and having fun. And like, I love Shane Douglas because he's like bouncing right along with Killings. It was so funny. And then here comes Conan, though, to kind of sober up the mood. Conan says he would never turn on Ron like everything else that happened with the 3 Live crew. Said that Killings said he's happy, he's free from drama, everything's good, that he's gone solo. And then Conan says, hey, if you need any help tonight, like, LAX has your back because Team Canada is going to be. They got a lot of people. Turn out to be one, but they got a lot of people that'll be in their corner tonight. And then after that, so it cuts back to the announce table.
Now this is weird.
This was so weird. So we cut to the announce table. Mike Tenay completely ignores what just happened with Ron Killings, and he's like, "Man, I can't believe Raven's gone." And then he puts his hand on his ear and he's like, "Hold on. Let's cut to the back. Something's happening in the back. Let's go to the back." So we go to the back. There's Raven. He's making his way. He's in the parking lot at this point.
Zbyszko's kicking him out.
Zbyszko's like, bid you adieu. Don't let the door hit you. He's saying a bunch of fun one-liners. Throws his bag at Raven. And then some lady comes up.
Miss
What's her name?
Jackie.
Yeah,
Jackie,
bro.
yeah. Jackie comes up. And
she was Rico's manager.
Oh, okay. And I didn't recognize
Bosom
her.
shots.
And she was just like, yeah, very much. She was not dressed for the weather because it looked like it was a chilly night and she was wearing almost nothing. But that's besides the point. So she starts like this conspiracy theory thing where she's like talking to Raven and she's like, you don't know how bad it is. You don't know how bad it is.
No, see, here's how I interpreted it.
Okay.
She said, "You're not the only one Zbyszko's been screwing around here."
Oh, so you took it like it's like a sexual thing.
And then she also goes on to say, "Zbyszko, I have a bone to pick with you." Like it felt to me, and like, I don't know if Kyle interpreted it the same way, but like there were multiple sexual puns, and then they just like Zbyszko and her left and went back in afterwards, and so like it seriously just seemed like they were just doing it.
I
See,
have
I
no
totally-
idea what was going on.
I
with
totally
it.
got like a conspiracy theorist. Like she was like, but
Yeah, something. Well, and then she was like, "Yeah, something bigger." Or no,
Yeah, it's bigger than you know,
it's
or something
She
like
literally
that.
just says it's bigger than you know.
Oh,
so like,
see,
okay, you get it now?
Okay,
Like I was
You're
like,
kinda
what
selling
in
me
the
on it. You're kinda-
world?
it was stupid. I mean, no matter
It was
which way you
terrible.
look at it, that was really bad. And then after that, we get to our next match, which is going to be Bobby Roode. Yeah, go ahead before
I'm
we
sorry.
do that.
Yeah, I did want to mention with the Shane Douglas and Ron Truth Killings
Oh,
interview. Ron Killings, absolutely phenomenal athlete, great wrestler, funny dude. At this point in his career, at least, not the best promo.
No.
And the reason I say that is this man cannot enunciate to save his life.
It was
he
a
was
bit hard to
mumbling in the
understand what he
mic. And Shane Douglas, to his credit, like you said, he was
having a great time.
This whole pay-per-view, he was overacting.
Oh yeah, he was
in
having the time of his life.
You mean it, Raven? Do you really?
Yeah.
Like just weird
I love
stuff.
Shane Douglas
but
on
it was
this show.
hilarious. Friend
Yeah.
of the podcast.
So up next, we do get Bobby Roode with only Scott D'Amore, which is very important to note because Conan specifically said in that backstage interview that Bobby Roode is going to have several people in his corner. So I was expecting all of Team Canada to come out, but nope, it was just Scott D'Amore versus Ron Killings, who of course came out solo. So before the match starts, there's footage shown of Ron getting 2 quick roll-ups on Roode, and then Roode getting his win back after that. And that's kind of the lead into this match. Both men are kind of vying for supremacy here because this is kind of a rubber match of sorts, but to my count, it was 2-1 in actual pinfalls. But then I guess the second Roode notch would be that he beat up Killings after he got the pinfall, I guess. So this is kind of a rubber match, you could say. So let's get into the match then. So Killings goes for a roll-up right away and then gets a near fall on that. Then goes for another. Then Roode goes for a few. Then they start trading roll-up attempts. Both men try for quick victories here at this point. Roode tries walking out, but D'Amore won't let him. He says they got to win this match. It causes just enough of a distraction for Truth to dive over the top rope and takes Bobby Roode out. Roode picks up Truth, drives his back into the ring post, and then he gets hung up on the top rope. Truth does, and there's a long abdominal stretch spot a little bit later on. But the whole thing with this is the only reason I really wrote it down is because Roode kept reaching back and grabbing the Canadian flag that D'Amore was feeding through.
It was a hockey stick.
Oh, it was a hockey stick. I thought it was the flag.
The flag was on it, but it was a hockey stick.
Yeah, so he kept
That was
reaching
their
that
thing.
through, and he would grab it and kind of just do some dirty moves there. Truth gets a roll up again for another near fall. There's a top rope knee drop for Bobby Roode for a near fall, and then Truth is in the corner. He skins the cat to get on the top rope. Then it's a really nice looking missile drop kick to Roode. There's a sling big blade to Roode for a near fall. Truth avoids a lariat, hits a spin kick onto Roode for another near fall. Truth tries for a superplex, but he gets thrown off the top. And then there's a crossbody to Truth by Roode, and then Truth rolls it over into a near fall of his own. And then here comes Conan. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he just blatantly distracted R-Truth.
They argued.
Ron Killings. They were arguing a little bit, which allowed Bobby Roode to hit to the Northern Lariat from behind for the victory. It was a 10-minute match. So this wasn't like anything special. I'll get into the post-match here in a moment. This wasn't anything special. It was purely a story. This was purely to advance the story.
Well, this is probably why you didn't see Conan in the tag team match.
Yeah, because
Right.
he was saving himself for here. So I guess I'll get into the post-match before I give my rating. So Conan and Truth are arguing in the ring after the match. Truth wants nothing to do with Conan. BG James runs out, and he's going to have a beef right now with Conan in the middle of this ring. Homicide comes in, though, and Homicide and Conan gang up on James. Killings actually leaves at this point.
It was weird. He just turns around and walks
Yeah,
away.
he just turns around and
dipped
walks
out.
off,
He dipped
and then Kip James comes out with a chair and kind of saves the day, and they stand tall. The match itself did not need to be on this pay-per-view, I don't think.
Nope.
I would have loved to have seen this match removed from this pay-per-view, been a blow-off TV match, given more time to another one of the more...
To Styles and
Yeah, that or even to Daniels and Joe, which we'll get
Yes,
into.
yes.
That being said, I gave it 2.5 because it was not a bad match. It just felt like a good TV match to me.
I gave it 2.25. It was just a TV, like a Raw main event or Impact main event,
Yeah.
I guess. Nothing, not bad, not good, just there.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 2.5 for me. There's a couple on here, and even the Styles Tanahashi match, like you take a look at it on paper and you're like, oh my gosh, like there's tons of potential,
Yeah.
and you're just slightly underwhelmed.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are two very talented guys. By the way, fellas, which Bobby Roode do you prefer? Long hair, short hair?
Short hair.
Long hair.
Yeah, I might be with Kyle on this one.
Wow, you're the tiebreaker, huh?
The
Yep.
the pre-glorious.
All right.
So
I mean, doesn't he have long hair right now?
No, he's got short hair right
Oh, does he?
You're
I
thinking of
don't
Chad
know.
Gable. his
Oh,
tag team
yeah.
partner.
I forgot they're partners now.
yeah, so It was what it was. It was a
Exactly,
meh. It was a meh
exactly.
match.
Not really too much.
And a stupid finish
to say
again.
about it, yeah. So after this, Shane Douglas is interviewing James Mitchell and Abyss backstage. Mitchell says that Rhino is no match for Abyss, and then he says that he's too distracted because of his estranged daughter, and that having a child is nothing to be proud of, and he has no sympathy for him, and that's why he's going to lose. Anything else to add about that?
He also mentioned that Abyss was a weapon of mass destruction multiple times and said he was going to push a detonator on him.
Yep.
But we're kind of making it seem like it's a meh thing. James Mitchell,
He's
Kyle,
the man.
phenomenal.
He's one of the best managers of all time.
Phenomenal promo.
Underrated.
An absolutely amazing promo. It was basically like he's like the intense version of Paul Bearer. You know?
For sure. I can see it.
So
Definitely.
no, he's sinister all the way.
And then we do get a video package after that. This is kind of just highlighting that Scott D'Amore had made a deal with James Mitchell and Abyss so that Rhino, he basically had protection from Rhino. I didn't care for this video package for one reason and one reason only. The music did not fit with like the atmosphere of the package, and the music was way too loud because they had a lot of talking going on over it, and I couldn't understand what anybody was really saying, and it was just like the standard like nu metal, like chuggy nu metal track, and it was like it did not fit the atmosphere of the video package at all. And then after that, we do get to Rhino versus Abyss. Apparently, this is a no disqualification match. They never said it, but there were weapons all over the place.
Can I just mention a fun fact? I look up James Mitchell right quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
He in his spare time when he was working with TNA, he sang Frank Sinatra covers on the side like 10 times a week.
That's hilarious.
So try to imagine James Mitchell in full garb.
That's hilarious.
Singing Frank Sinatra songs.
I love that.
All right, go ahead.
So one thing I noticed as Rhino makes his entrance, man, he is OVER with this crowd.
Yes,
he was one of the more over people on this entire show.
The man
The
beast.
crowd loved Rhino here. So they brawl outside the ring to start the match. Rhino clotheslines Abyss over the top rope. Very nice athletic looking spot there. And then Rhino hits a slingshot plancha over the top rope to Abyss on the outside. Another very athletic looking spot by Rhino.
Well, the scariest and stiffest plancha I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Like he
300 pounds
It
of
was
Rhino
literally
coming out of
Yeah,
that
it was rough.
Gravity took him and he just dropped.
Oh, yeah. And then Abyss grabs two chairs from underneath the ring, and then he cracks one over Rhino's back. Rhino and then grabs the chairs and throws them into the ring. There's a leg drop to Abyss for a near fall by Rhino in the ring. Rhino gets sent hard into the corner, takes a big old boy bump there. Abyss wedges a chair into the turnbuckle on one of the 6 sides of the ring, and then tries to send Rhino in it. Rhino avoids it, but then instantly gets sent in it again hard. He careened into that chair in the corner.
So I don't know if this has happened yet. But it's at one point Rhino, like you said, whacks Abyss with the chair, but he hits him with like the top part of the chair, and it makes like a head-shaped indent.
Yeah.
In the top
That was
part.
when he was hitting him outside, I believe.
Oh, dude.
And then there was some big man offense onto Rhino by Abyss here, and there's a big boot for an Abyss near fall, and then a fireman's carry neckbreaker out of nowhere by Rhino. That was really nice. And then there's a corner spear to Abyss, followed by some chair shots. Go
Also,
ahead.
that's called a TKO.
Oh, okay. I knew it was called something like that, but I couldn't remember.
Mark Marrow's finisher.
Okay, cool.
Blech.
Hey, be nice.
Okay.
Then Rhino sets up for the gore, but he gets distracted because Mitchell gets on the apron, and then Abyss just kills him with a chain here for a near fall. Then there's a Rhino spinebuster for a near fall into Abyss. Rhino wants the Rhino driver from the middle rope onto chairs, but Mitchell distracts again. And then Abyss hits a choke slam, which gets countered. Abyss goes for a choke slam. Rhino counters it, but then Abyss counters it back into the black hole slam, and Abyss picks up the pinfall victory at 9.5
Onto the chairs, by the
minutes.
way.
Onto the chairs. That's good to bring up. Onto 9.5 minutes. Abyss wins the match. Right winner. I thought this was a really solid, fun little match. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I would have liked to have seen it gone a little bit longer. It's a very kind of common thread for these big matches. It wasn't quite long enough. I still gave it 3 stars because I did enjoy it thoroughly.
I thought it was 3 stars. I thought it was a fun brawl. Rhino was really good in TNA, and Abyss has always been great. So I love this match.
Elder statesman.
It was very good, very good.
Awesome. 3 1/4. I think these two have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
They pair together really well. And this is it was quick, violent. I would like to see. I don't know if I wanted to see more time necessarily, as much as I want to see more spots.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I
wish the Rhino driver would have hit.
Oh yeah, the Rhino driver is sweet.
He hit it on the last TNA show we watched.
Yes, but I wanted to see it hit again. Okay.
I did too, especially on Abyss, big boy Abyss.
You made a little sound earlier, Kyle, and I kind of want to ask, what's your problem with Mark Marrow?
He's not very good.
Yep, he's not very good, and he's an asshole
Why do you say that?
because he shits on the wrestling business.
Does he shit on the wrestling business or the lifestyle? Because he's a motivational speaker now, And
he blames the wrestling business for like losing all of his shit.
losing.
I don't know, everything in his life. I don't know.
I've heard some of his motivational
He was just on Nancy Grace one time arguing with Kevin Nash and like
oh, here we go.
Just being a douche.
Oh,
Here we
no.
go.
Oh, no. All right.
So they were just trying to outdouche each other on Nancy Grace?
Yeah.
Well, the three of them were trying to outdouche each
Oh,
other.
I can imagine that was a...
He was blaming WWE for Chris Benoit murdering his family.
Oof.
And Kevin Nash was basically saying it's not WWE's fault. Because, it's not WWE's fault.
No, not necessarily.
Not at all.
I think that there was just a lifestyle back then that was promoted and...
Well, I think just a lot of... Well,
Yeah,
with Benoit, like, they just didn't know a lot of what the actual
Nobody-
mental
Nobody knew what
repercussions were.
CTE was back then.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
so
a big
you can't place
Well,
the blame.
That's
on
like
the
blaming
company.
the NFL for Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
That was the big gimmick, right? Though when the Benoit thing happened was steroids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
nobody
true.
thought about their
Drug
heads.
use.
Exactly.
Steroids.
Exactly.
And he just looked like a ding dong on TV.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
Fair
well,
enough.
Putting
Fair
Kevin
that's
Nash
not
down.
the first time he's done that.
Fair enough.
and he was a shitty wrestler.
Yeah, that's
At
true.
times.
At times.
I-
If
I-
he-
all
if he
the
was
time.
not
I
invested.
just will say, Mark,
sure.
I really enjoy some of your motivational stuff.
Friend of the podcast, Mark Merrow.
I don't know if Kyle agrees with that.
After we just
Absolutely
buried him.
not. No.
So after that, we get a video package.
Oh, can I make one more point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember how Mark Merrill wasn't man enough to keep Sable and Brock Lesnar took her? Hey ya!
Oh yeah, are you gonna be man enough to keep Sable when Brock Lesnar's threatening you?
I never had Sable, so
Okay, I don't think there's a man alive.
Cain Velasquez would disagree.
So after that match ended, we got a video
Wrong.
package hyping up America's
Well, he
Most-
knocked Brock Lesnar out in 2 minutes, so not wrong.
Gentlemen.
Fight me. You know what? Let's fight and see who knocks who out in 2 minutes.
You guys could both knock me
I'll
out
pick
in 2
Eric
minutes.
Ackerson. You pick Alex Ackerson.
Oh, man. Can we get on now? Are we done with that?
Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Dad.
we're done talking about shit bag.
So after that, there's a video package hyping up America's Most Wanted versus Team 3D. And the whole story going into this is that Team 3D really, really wants to get those NWA tag team belts because they feel like it's that last tag team brass ring that they need to reach for because they say they've had the WCW belts,
Well,
the ECW belts.
the announcers played it off that they were in WCW and they were never in WCW.
No, they won the WCW belts when they were
Right,
migrated to
but they're
the
like
WWE.
they said that they went through WCW, and I was like,
wrong.
I was like, no.
And then obviously there's kind of the whole subplot of the fact that America's Most Wanted has been terrorizing the Team 3D for the better part of a year now.
And all of TNA.
Yeah.
That was actually really their thing.
Yeah. And so that's the story going into the match. This is, of course, for the titles. America's Most Wanted are accompanied to the ring by Gail Kim and...
I will say, Devon here tries his best. I don't know if Miss Jackie and Tracy or whoever that was earlier, I don't know if he was a little jealous, insecure, but he was trying to show off some bosom shots too. Like, he was trying to show his tits as much as humanly possible.
Well, I mean, to his credit, he looked great.
oh,
in this
dude, he was
match.
stacks on stacks on stacks.
And so Devon and Storm begin the match, which just leads into perfectly to where it went because Devon was on fire in the beginning of this match. He was moving so quick. I don't know if I've ever seen the quickness from him like
it's
that.
kind of weird, like, towards this part of their career and beyond, it's like one or the other was out of shape.
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
Bubba
and it's
here was definitely
it's
out of
Brother
shape.
Ray here. So Devon and James Storm start the match, and a little bit of a mat-based wrestling exchange to start. Devon hits a nice drop kick into a scoop slam. He misses a standing elbow, and then Storm misses one of his own. Then both men face off. Cool little sequence there. There's a Harris cheap shot on Devon to give the advantage to Harris. Harris eventually does get, or to Storm, I mean. Harris does get tagged in here. And there's a Devon double clothesline. He clotheslines both of AMW. And then Brother Ray gets tagged in. They trade chops in the corner. Ray misses a middle rope senton, and then Storm gets tagged in. And then Storm chokes out Brother Ray with his wrist tape. He like undoes his wrist tape and chokes him out with it. Harris would try something similar a little bit later on. And then Devon gets tagged back in. There's a neckbreaker for a Team 3D near fall. A Devon spinebuster for a near fall. And then Ray and Devon do the classic dick headbutt spot, the was up thing.
Why that?
Onto, I believe it was Harris. Then they grab a table. They set it up outside the ring. But before that, so there's this cool little spot where they have it kind of like set up like flat, like vertically on the ring. Each men are holding one side of it, and you can see that Harris is going to go for a basement drop kick into the Team 3D, but they very smartly lift the table and just cause Harris to crash out of the ring, and then they try it again, except Storm does it. They don't see him coming though, and they do get the drop kick. Kind of a cool little spot there. So Storm ends up taking them out. And then Storm gets tagged in here. He works over Devon. All the while, the table's still set up on the outside here. And then Harris comes in. Devon avoids a double team maneuver. And then he sends Harris shoulder first into the post. And then Brother Ray gets tagged back in, takes out both members of America's Most Wanted. There's a sidewalk slam to Harris for a near fall, and then a DDT to Harris for a near fall, and then all 4 men are brawling for a while. There's a spinebuster clothesline combo by America's Most Wanted, nice double team move onto Brother Ray for a near fall, and then a double suplex to Devon. And then America's Most Wanted go for the death sentence, but Devon breaks it up at the last second, and then kind of shades of Legion of Doom because we get an electric chair clothesline, top rope clothesline by Team 3D for a near fall.
The Dudley device.
The Dudley device. I didn't realize it had a name.
Yeah, well, Doomsday Device, but they did it a few times.
Yeah.
They did it a few times, and they called it Dudley Device.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
And it was a fun spot, and that was a near fall. And there's a Harris big boot to Brother Ray for a near fall. And then James Storm grabs a chair that's outside the ring. And then Harris is like, bring that chair in here, bring that in here. And then for some reason, Harris like goes to pull on James Storm's hair to like get his attention. But then Storm thinks that it's one of the Team 3D guys.
This
so he
Why
whacks
are
him.
you pulling your friend's hair to get his attention?
It was
I don't
so
understand.
stupid. And so rightfully so.
This is when this match starts to go.
It really starts to
off
come
the
off the rails here.
Yeah.
So then of course Storm hits Harris with the chair because he thinks it's one of Team 3D, which does cause Team 3D to get a near fall.
Well, and like he throws it behind him.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, Storm, to make sure he's hitting the chair correctly on Harris's head.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah.
He looks to his side to see through peripherals, and it's like you can click.
That's a good point.
I just don't understand why you're gonna go grab your partner by the hair while he's holding a chair.
Yeah,
from behind
what do you think's
too.
gonna happen?
Gross.
And then there's a James Storm super kick to Devon, and then Storm gets pushed off the top rope. He goes for top rope maneuver, gets pushed off through the table outside. This causes a bit of a distraction. Brother Ray manages to get a roll up near fall on Harris. Gail Kim gets involved. Right in front of the ref, by the way, puts all this powder in Harris's hand, and what do you think happens? Brother Ray comes up, smacks it up, blinds Kim, blinds Harris, and importantly,
blinds the ref.
Blinds the referee. There's a 3D to Harris here, and then Team 3D get the pinfall because Devon drags the ref over. They get the pinfall. They get handed the belts and everything. The crowd's going crazy. The bell rings. And everyone thinks this match is over.
Team 3D is celebrating.
Yeah, Team 3D is celebrating. And then Team Canada comes out, specifically Eric Young. I believe is it Bobby Roode who accompanies them at this time?
Petey Williams is out there.
And Petey Williams is there as well. They beat up Brother Ray, and then they pull Harris over Brother Ray. This is really hard to explain. And then the ref can see again, and he thinks that he had counted the pinfall for America's Most Wanted, and they win the match at 12 and a half minutes. This was a very good match that just absolutely fell off the rails at the end. Everything else
terrible.
Everything else up to that chair shot was great.
It was a tale of two,
it was a tale of two. Yeah, it was a tale of two matches, really.
I mean, you gave it what you think, and I'll tell you what I think.
So I give it 3 stars just because I thought it was super good until those last few minutes. It just fell apart.
So for the first half, I'll give it a straight 4.
Okay.
Wow.
For the second half, I'll give it a half.
Oh wow. Okay.
So my total match rating is going to be somewhere in the 2.25 to 2.5 range because it was really, really fun. And then the chair thing and the
it was insane.
It was just getting stupid.
It was like
I think I looked at Luke and said, I feel like this is Russo booking this.
I was just about to say it felt like 2000 WCW to me.
And then it felt
disgusting.
like those 2008 TNA shows where Russo was booking them.
Yeah.
Like it was just fucking bad.
So there were times, even when you guys said this match was really good, there were times where it felt clumsy to me. Bubba is wearing a t-shirt, and like there's literally moments where he's like like he is gassed. I don't know, there was just certain times where it seemed sloppy, but then that finish and everything just ruined it for me. It was 2 stars for me, especially since this was supposed to be the Dudley's landmark achievement, right?
I know.
And the crowd celebrated. Dudley celebrated like they had just done it.
Yeah.
And so they kind of cried wolf on this one.
Team 3D they won the titles eventually,
multiple times,
okay.
yeah. They won the NWA, the TNA, the WWE, WCW, and ECW, and I think the IWGP.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Awesome.
All right. So, fellas.
Yeah.
I have to pee.
All right, go for it.
Okay.
We'll keep talking here.
Yeah, you just keep on chugging.
Okay, I do have to make one comment though before I go pee. Go.
So after that, Jeff Jarrett and Monty Brown are interviewed backstage. Jeff Jarrett rambles about Sting and Christian both wanting the title and not being able to trust each other. And then Monty Brown just does some crazy shit.
Exactly. Thank you.
It was. I never said it wasn't crazy. I just said it was funny.
It was hilarious.
It was awesome.
So he pulls he's like talking to, who was he talking to, Sting? Yeah, he was like, tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah, he was making like
he
alarm
did
clock
the
sounds.
alarm sound.
He was crazy.
It was
also-
awesome. I loved it.
He also did an Elmer Fudd reference and said, "Be very careful."
And I just
All right,
loved
gonna go
it.
pee.
So like it was totally a tale of two promos because Jarrett,
Was boring.
he was just rambling. I didn't know what he was talking about. They both want the titles, and can they really trust each other? I don't think they can because I got the title, and they want the title. And then I just loved it once he handed it to Monty Brown.
Oh, Monty went off the rails.
He was just crazy.
But the dude oozes with charisma.
Oh, I know. I love it. I was laughing. I was laughing. out loud.
Luke hated it, but I thought it was great.
I thought it was hilarious. I hated the Jarrett for some reason. Jarrett's not a bad promo,
No, he's just boring.
but he has a tendency to ramble
Yeah.
about just random shit. Like he's done this in every TNA show
the
we've
difference
watched.
between Monty and Jeff is Monty
He's
he
in
makes
on
it fun.
Yeah.
He changes his voice around. Jared
Yeah.
just the same monotone.
And then after that, we get a video package that's hyping the Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe angle. It kind of recaps everything we've seen. Man, Samoa Joe, at this stage in his career, was booked so tremendously well by
Undefeated.
TNA. He's on a very long undefeated streak. He's got the X Division title, and the whole thing is he's got his towel that he carries out, and he's even photographed and was video of him actually wearing Daniel's bloody stained towel.
Yep.
I loved that. Just the way Joe was booked, and even the way he's booked now, like, man, I loved this. I loved this video package.
Joe's great.
I loved
Daniels
Joe's
was
character
great.
here. He hadn't quite he was good in the clips that you heard him speak. He was good. He's gotten so much better.
Oh yeah,
now.
he can own a mic now.
Yeah, he was good then though. I mean, this made me hyped up for this was there anybody in that first few years who was booked better than Samoa Joe in TNA?
No, absolutely not.
He was booked so well.
and the crowd is going nuts for both these guys.
Oh yeah. And hey, Luke, we're back. We're just getting into the.
Damn, that was great.
We're just getting into the Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe match.
I heard you talking about how well Joe is booked.
Yeah.
Like historically.
Yeah.
Like they.
Historically well, yeah.
Yeah.
well,
so,
not historically, because it went off the rails in TNA for a while, where he was
Yeah. Up to
stabbing
up to
people
this
and
point,
being
though.
Okay, yes,
kidnapped and
but one thing they've always kept consistent is his savagery.
Yeah. I was telling
Like he'll
Kyle,
he'll stoop to any low.
I was telling Kyle I loved the image of him wearing the bloodstained Christopher Daniels towel.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
absolutely loved that, and that
I
just
forgot about that, but yeah.
And so that's the whole story. Is he's gonna smear he's got a fresh towel and he wants to smear it with Daniel's blood.
And it's kind of funny. I mean, he was booked so well that you can take him seriously when he has Jason Mayhem Miller hair.
oh my gosh, and he's got the brass or the metal ball necklace on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's get into it. Oh, hey, Slick Johnson again. This is when
Slick
it was
Johnson.
officially confirmed that either Christopher Daniels
That
is a
both
magician
Batman and Bruce Wayne are in the
Yes.
same room.
or they're twins. I think they might be twin brothers. Again, I'm a Slick Johnson
I
guy.
think the Fallen Angel is just
That magical. Mm-hmm. So there's forearm strikes to Joe by Daniels right off the bat. Then he gets some in the corner. Daniels is coming out really hot here, working really quick. A sense of urgency. He wants to get Joe on the ground, and he does so with a Hurricane Rana, and then another really nice Hurricane Rana there to Joe. Joe then just starts kicking the hell out of Daniels, just big kicks and then big chops the hell out of him in the corner. There's a Christopher Daniels roll up then for a near fall. Joe goes from the roll up straight into a nice armbar and then into another one of those kind of horizontal surfboard maneuvers. Really good sequence there. Joe avoids a middle rope springboard moonsault and then very arrogantly, I loved the way he did this.
He just walks away.
He telegraphed it from a mile away and then just very slowly walks away and just mugs at the crowd. I loved that. And there's a knee drop to Daniels for a near fall, and then a snap power slam for Joe for a near fall, and then a Daniels hits a code breaker before it was called the code breaker.
no, Don West called it the code breaker.
Oh, did he?
That's
Did he?
the weird
I missed it.
thing.
I missed it.
was Jericho even doing the code breaker?
I thought he called it a jawbreaker.
No, maybe he did.
I think he called it a jawbreaker.
Maybe we didn't hear it right.
And then
Probably not.
And then there's a split-legged moonsault for Christopher Daniels near fall. And then there's a Death Valley driver to Joe for a near fall that Daniels kind of hits out of nowhere. And then there's a pop-up powerbomb to Daniels. He was going for another Hurricane Rana. Ended up being just a brutal-looking pop-up powerbomb for a near fall there. Or it was by Daniels, sorry. And then Daniels snaps, and then he just starts hitting mat strikes onto Joe. He sits over him and just starts hitting Joe. And then Joe counters it beautifully into a triangle. It was awesome. Daniels manages to escape, but not before Joe transitioned that triangle into an STF. Again, just these submission transitions were so good by Samoa Joe throughout the entire
Samoan
match.
submission machine.
Yeah, that's the reason he was called that. Daniels tries for a powerbomb and gets countered into a Joe Hurricane Rana for a near fall. It was off the top rope. He was going to go for a top rope powerbomb, and then Joe with a beautiful looking Hurricane Rana for a near fall. And then Daniels gets a Uranagi and then hits the best moonsault ever for a near fall. So the finishing move for Daniels yields a near fall for Joe. And then Joe rolls out of the ring to catch his breath, and then a beautiful, I don't know if you guys like this spot as much as I did, but an absolute beautiful slingshot elbow to Joe by Daniels on the outside.
That was good.
It was beautiful. They replayed it in slow motion, and just the way he controlled his body in the air, I thought was magnificent. That was one of my favorite spots of this match.
Elegance.
Yes, that's exactly. So Joe grabs a chair, and then he puts it back, and then he seats Daniel on the chair. And then he hits this brutal running kick, kind of like a haluva kick, but Daniels was seated and his head smashed right into the guardrail, and
But
Daniels is busted open at this
The camera
point.
work on that was bad because it showed Joe just kicking the guardrail.
Oh, did it? I missed that.
Me
I
and
missed
Luke
that.
were talking
I
about
missed
it. It was
that.
bad.
They made up for it with, I thought, some really nice camera work a little bit later on. And then, so Daniels is busted open now, and then AJ kind of comes out to the ring to kind of show support for Christopher Daniels here because they've both been brutalized and screwed over by Joe. Joe misses an enziguri, and then Daniels tries for the Angel's Wings, but he can't lift Joe up. They sell it because of his concussions, which I thought was kind of weird, but okay.
Well, because of that guardrail spot.
Yeah. And he had concussions previously by Joe. So that was kind of the reasoning there. Then he does hit the enziguri, that being Samoa Joe. There's a running knee in the corner to Daniels, and then a muscle buster to Daniels. Joe sinks a coquina clutch, but Daniels manages to get to the rope, and then Joe tosses a chair into the ring. Muscle busts Daniels again, right under the chair. The crowd chants one more time at this point, because of course they do. There's some punt-style kicks to Daniels, and then just some super stiff knees to Daniel's head. I mean, just over
and AJ's yelling
over.
stop.
So this is when I thought the camera work here towards the end of this match was fantastic.
Yes.
Because you
Yes.
can see on the right side of the screen, you can see Joe just destroying Daniel's head, and then just in the background you can see AJ. He's got the towel and he's thinking about throwing it in. Eventually,
And his facial expressions were
Are
great.
and he's
Yeah.
yelling, Joe, stop.
Yeah. And eventually he does throw in the towel to forfeit the match at 15 and a half minutes. Joe gets the win. This was a phenomenal
A
match.
classic.
I have one thing though.
Uh-oh.
It didn't rank as highly for me as it could have because for the story that they were telling, which was a great story, and I have no gripes about it, I would have liked to have seen it go 15, 20, 25 more minutes than it did. It went 15 and a half. I would have loved to have seen it 30, 45 minutes to really sell that exhaustion factor and that brutalizing factor.
Yes.
You could have easily cut the R-Truth and Bobby Roode match and given this that extra time, and it would have been a 4.5 star match for me. I still am going to give it 3.75 because I thought it was fantastic. Really, I would have liked to have seen it get an extra few minutes. But even what we got, I thought was beautifully done.
You're right. You could have cut the R-Truth match and the James Gang match and
For
put
sure.
all that time into this, and
Because
it would have been a 5-star
It
classic.
was masterful.
But I
what we
still
got.
gave it 4.25. I thought it was great. I loved the ending with the knees and AJ throwing in. And then after this, AJ and Daniels would end up being a tag team and winning the tag
Okay.
team belts in
Awesome.
the next few months. But yeah, I really liked it.
Oh my God, this match was good.
It was.
Oh yes.
This is match of the night for me.
Yeah. Oh, easily, man.
Yeah,
so
there's
I
nothing
get
true.
You know what? I'm gonna bump it up to 4 stars.
Yeah.
You guys
You
convince me.
can't, dude.
This
You
is a
can't-
4-star. This is a
You
4-star
can't give
match.
it anything less than 4.
This is a 4-star match. Even though I would have liked to have seen it gone longer, everything was perfectly executed.
Yes, it was cover to cover beautiful.
Yeah.
Like you said, you had Christopher Daniels showing off his skill set and his elegance in the air, what he's able to do, especially on the mat as well.
Yeah.
He's very underrated technically. And then Joe, man. God, he lives, eats, and
the
breathes
best.
that character.
He's the best.
That could he ever play? I mean, I feel like he's played a face maybe once, but could
Yeah.
he ever be a convincing face? Is he one of those?
He couldn't be a white meat baby face, but he could definitely be like an
What do you
Austin
think, Kyle?
Shades of Grey type,
You think that Samoa Joe could ever be a true baby face?
like a white
and
meat.
pull it off?
Well, he kind of did in TNA for a while. Like the crowd fucking just loved him when he was a face.
Wasn't it more of like the anti-hero thing, like Zach was talking about?
I mean, kind of, but he was like saving all the good guys from getting beat up when he was with the TNA Frontline.
Oh, right.
And then I think he ended up turning on him and going to the Mafia later or whatever. But you could turn Joe into a face and the crowd would eat it up.
But
he should never do that.
Correct.
Totally.
Okay, thank you. This match, man, especially the ending. Joe, both of these guys, this was strong style, man.
Oh yeah,
like both of these
a lot
guys
of stiff shots
were
this whole
hitting
match.
the crap out of each other. And that, while I was watching that ending, where Styles is deliberating, throwing the towel, it was totally Rocky.
Yeah,
that was
for
straight
sure.
out of Rocky.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, it's fantastic. These guys are phenomenal. I do have to say, what is up? So Christopher Daniels gets color a lot.
Oh yeah.
Kyle? You've watched a lot of Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
He bleeds a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Why do bald dudes blade a lot? Like,
because you can see the blood throughout their entire head better than you can somebody with like long hair.
What he just said, yeah.
Ric Flair is an exception there because he has white hair, which is why you'd see him get color a lot.
It stain him.
Yeah, and that's why the guys like Hulk Hogan would always bleed.
Yeah, because that big shiny top of their head, you could
right,
really
but Hulk
see
didn't
it.
bleed until his second WWE run, right? Like, we never saw him.
That's true, but he bladed
But once
a lot.
he started, he
was
really
going
got
gross.
going. And that's why like
And
you see guys
Austin
like
bled a
Austin bleed a
ton.
lot. I think it's just because you can see it better when their whole head is.
Same with Kane when he had the mask on.
But yeah, Christopher Daniels. Nice. Christopher Daniels is, the color always looks great on him.
Did you give this
I will
match a
say
star
that.
rating that you?
Yeah, I said 4.
Oh, perfect.
It's fantastic.
All right. So after that match is over, we get a video package hyping up the main event, which is going to be Monty Brown and Jeff Jarrett versus Christian Cage and the returning Sting. This video package was okay, but the heels kind of just reiterated everything they said in their backstage interview earlier. But whatever.
And then Christian was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm Christian."
Yeah, so Christian's interviewed backstage, and he's like, "You can trust me. Ask any of my old partners." And then he stops, and he's like, "Well, maybe not." And then he goes, "Ask all my fans," and then they all cheer.
And then he said, "I'm the Christian Coalition."
Yeah, the Christian Coalition is what he calls them.
And I'm gonna win tonight with my friend Sting, who has face paint.
Wait, so you didn't like that promo? Or
It was fine.
I liked it. Yeah.
I didn't find anything
I
wrong with
honestly-
it.
What would I not like about it?
what?
Fine.
You were just like, I'm Christian Cage, and like, I don't know.
It was
You
just
just made
his-
it seem like it was kiddish.
It was his Christian impression.
But no, I don't know. Maybe I was just reading too much.
It wasn't
into
the best Christian
I
promo
think
of all time.
I
but
think
it was
Christian,
fine.
but still, he never communicated like that. In any sort of, with the Edge and Christian, anything like that. Like, obviously he had his funny spots, but here you can tell he feels like the man.
Yeah.
Well, it's because he's actually getting pushed. In WWE, he just toiled away.
Right.
He won like 6 matches in 1 year when he was a single star in WWE.
Yeah,
And now he's like
yeah.
on an undefeated streak,
yeah.
and he's like the number one contender.
So, I mean,
Christian's one of my top 10 favorites of all time.
throughout that promo,
Yeah.
throughout the.
I like Christian better than Edge.
Really? Wow.
Nothing against Edge. I just like Christian
I
better.
feel like you just like to go against the grain.
Kind of.
Love Matt Hardy over Jeff. Love Christian over Edge.
I think the three of us kind of agree on that, Matt
We
Hardy.
do kind of, yeah. We do agree
you
on
both
that.
agree with me on that.
But no,
Yeah.
I feel like if you forgot what Christian's solo potential was, like, just watch his TNA
Oh,
run.
for sure.
Oh my
For
gosh.
sure.
At least except Sting, who's going to be the last man in. Who gets popped?
And the ceiling almost blows off this place when Sting comes out.
I should mention Jeff Jarrett still love the My World.
It sounds like Blind by Korn for me. Every time I hear those that first
true.
like intro.
But then you hear the
Yeah. So Jared is accompanied once again by Gail Kim, just kind of furthering that whole like every heel in this card, with the exception of maybe Abyss. Like even Abyss, because he had the Scott D'Amore thing. They're all kind of connected.
Do you remember Abyss helped bury the Dudley Boys at the Bound
That's
for Glory
right.
show?
Yeah,
we
that's
watched?
right. So
all the heels are connected.
which is interesting, I guess.
just a quick side note before we really get into the main event.
Yeah.
I talked to Kyle about this, and I don't know if he agreed with me as much, but there was no knockouts division here, right? So seeing Gail Kim in a managerial role, like, kind of kills me. Because
It doesn't kill me because she quit WWE because she did not want to be there. Like, she came here to start that knockouts division, so You have to start somewhere.
I
just
think
the-
it was her betting on herself in a
Yes,
big
big
way.
way.
And obviously it paid off because now the Knockouts division, even today in Impact,
And she's still
is
working with TNA
Yeah.
backstage, and
Yeah.
she's going to be reffing at Homecoming on
That's
the
right.
6th.
That's right.
I love it. I mean, yes, obviously she's done so much and she's an incredible. It just pained me to see her not in action, not in the wrestling ring itself. Like, she's way better than a valet. Not to put any
Yeah.
hate on valet.
I
But
think-
she was great in this role. So
Yeah, she did a
Yeah.
fine job.
Yeah,
I
she's
know.
all right.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think in hindsight, she did eventually get her
Oh, of course.
dues paid and
and
everything.
this transition to her getting involved in matches where more women were brought in to wrestle her, because AJ and Daniels would bring in a woman to team up with them. I forget who it was, to face Gail Kim and America's Most Wanted
Yeah.
to get her
Yeah.
active.
ODB, greatest knockout of all time.
Should we get into this match?
Greg, you want to spot on our podcast?
So Christian and Monty Brown start the match off. There's a roll up for a near fall to Brown by Christian, and then Jarrett gets tagged in, and then Christian mocks Jarrett's strut, and then Christian goes for a tag, but Jarrett pulls him away, and he tries once more and does get the tag. Crowd goes wild. Sting comes in. Sting tries to do the so Sting does the Sting howl, woo, and then Jarrett tries to do it, and everyone boos him. And there's a guy in the front row who just is dead by this. He is laughing so hard. He's like kneeled over the guardrail. He's laughing
didn't
so
see
hard.
that.
I love it.
didn't
Was
either.
so funny. I mean, it was a funny spot too. Like, gotta give Jarrett credit. Like, the comedic timing was perfect on it, and the crowd's reaction was great. But this guy in the front row, like, go back and watch it because it's hilarious. He's dead. So then there's You Still Got It chance after a nice drop kick to Jarrett, and Jarrett rolls outside, and then there's a Sting bulldog onto Jarrett, and then Monty Brown gets involved, and then Sting bulldogs him, and then Christian comes in. There's a splash to Jarrett, and then Jarrett punches Christian right in the dick while Kim is distracting the ref, and then Gail Kim, her can run into Christian outside the ring, and then Jarrett gets his strut in, and then tags in Monty Brown, and Monty hits an exploder suplex onto Christian for a near fall. Jeff Jarrett comes back in. Christian gets a tag to Sting, but the ref misses it, so Sting has to go back out. Christian gets double teamed and then hung up on the rope, like a suplex onto that top rope. Hangs him up on that for a Monty Brown near fall. There's a snap suplex for another Brown near fall, and then Christian bites Monty Brown up on the top rope, causes Brown to fall off because they're kind of brawling up there, and then he hits a frog splash, but he can't get the cover right away.
Quick note on that.
Yeah.
Christian started using the frog splash as a tribute to Eddie Guerrero,
Eddie Guerrero?
in TNA.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's really good.
I love that.
That's good to know. It was a good looking frog splash too.
Yeah, he does really good at it.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, and then so he can't get the cover right away because he's selling the effects of the frog splash. He does get a near fall after a delayed pinfall there. Christian reaches for the tag, but he can't quite get there. Jarrett pulls Sting off the apron, and then Brown and Jarrett try for the concerto, which is an awesome spot, by the way. 'Cause
Yes.
it's callback to Christian's obviously tag team days.
Christian had a tag team?
Yeah.
Oh, Christian and Tomko. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So Christian avoids it, and both men kind of ricochet the chair into each other, and then Christian hits a double DDT. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Christian crawls towards Sting. He does get the tag. Plex goes wild again. There's a Stinger splash to Jarrett, and then Brown takes out the ref, and then he gets sent out of the ring. There's a Scorpion Deathlock to Jarrett. He gets to the ropes. There's no ref to stop it, so he pulls him back in the middle of the ring, and then he's tapping and tapping and tapping. The ref's out, so we can't see it. Again, I thought this match kind of started to fall apart a little bit here.
Yep. Absolutely.
So there's a Scorpion. Oh, sorry, I already got there. So there's a Brown fallaway slam to Sting. Or no, not to Sting, to Christian, and he does like a back fallaway slam, knocks him into Sting, which breaks the hold. And then Sting and Christian start to argue, and then Brown tries to hit Sting with the title, and then Christian just bulldogs Sting to avoid the title shot.
No, he like threw him on the ground.
I mean, it was like a bulldog though. Like,
but he was trying to protect him.
I know, but he threw him with authority on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, it was a maneuver. He didn't just like push him out of
right,
the way.
but would you rather get hit in the head by the belt, or would you just fall on your face? You know?
I'd probably rather get hit with the belt, honestly.
Then have your head
Plant
land
my
on the mat.
Yeah. But and then so that kind of just sends things a little. Sting kind of understands, I think. Like, they don't really get into it, but like they don't really fight that much after that. Like,
No,
I thought that was gonna be like a brawl was gonna ensue. But
They've kind of foreshadowed like, oh, don't know if they'll be able to
Yeah,
trust each other.
yeah.
And I don't think that they gave it its proper for how much they hyped
it
that.
never paid off.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
meanwhile, Jarrett gets up on the top rope while this is all going on, and then he gets crotched, and then Brown gets sent headfirst right into Jarrett's dick. More dick trauma. Brown gets sent back outside, and then Team Canada run in, and then there's dual Scorpion death drops to Team Canada. It was
fun little spot.
It was Rude and Young, and then Gail Kim gets on the top rope to distract Sting, and then Jarrett whacks Sting with the belt, and then the ref recovers and is able to count a near fall for Jarrett, and then Sting kind of hulks up here a little bit. He misses a Stinger Splash, as does Christian. They go for dual Stinger Splashes. They both miss. Jarrett grabs a guitar. Sting grabs his bat and just disintegrates this guitar.
Oh, I like that part.
I've never seen that spot before.
It fell into dust.
It was awesome.
And then Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop for the win onto, I believe it was Jarrett.
Yep.
In 15 minutes. This was a decent match, but man, it really, again, it fell apart at the end
That
where
booking.
it was just so overbooked. I give it 2.4 stars because I didn't hate the match, but the ending, again, it was a tale of two sides, right? I liked a lot of the fun character stuff in the beginning of the match with kind of all these egotistical men kind of sizing each other up and mocking each other. I loved all that, and then again, it just kind of went down that rabbit hole toward the end.
I gave it 2.75 because I thought the Sting debut was just perfect. I thought there was some cool stuff in the match. Again, this match could actually benefit from going a little shorter.
I agree.
Yes.
Without Team Canada, even with Team Canada interfering was okay, but the ref bumps and all that stuff, it was just too much. But 2.75, good return for Sting. Glad Christian got used properly, and I always love me some Mountie Brown.
I don't.
What did you think, Luke?
2 3/4.
Okay.
You could tell that this match literally is just meant for Sting.
Yeah.
So the other three people do not matter.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I will say I did really enjoy Christian Cage getting his stuff in.
Oh, definitely.
Like, especially in the beginning of the match, when he's faking, when he's mocking the strut.
Yeah.
He's getting his stuff in, and I still just was really impressed. I just forgot how good Solo Christian was, I suppose.
Yeah, it was great.
Christian had a great run.
But this match, too, besides a few crazy spots, like, it felt campy at times. Like, Christian
felt very much like early 90s.
Yes, Christian and Sting are doing dual death drops, dual Stinger splashes, and like,
I'm sure Christian was in heaven.
oh, I'm sure he was elated. Yeah, with one of his heroes.
Yeah.
You'd assume anyway.
Oh, for sure.
So sorry.
Oh yeah, no. Fuck me, whatever.
No, keep going.
no. 2 3/4. Go ahead.
And so that's how we the pay-per-view ends with the two baby faces standing tall. So overall,
What do you give the show?
I thought this was a really solid show.
Me too.
There were a few things I would have changed, made matches longer, took some matches out. The longest match on this card was the opening match, and it came in around 17 minutes long. So there was not like a big 30-minute blow away, like big pay-per-view match on this card. There were great matches on the card, but I felt like if one or two of these matches would have made it a bit longer, this would have been an A show for me. I do still give it a B because I thought it was very solid, and there was a lot of just good stuff. Man, this was a good era for TNA.
I gave it a B as well. I thought it was a really good show. I like most of it. So B show, you should watch it.
I gave it a B minus. Just overbooked.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again. So last week or on the live stream, we went over this card, right? And it was like, oh my god,
On paper,
oh my god. Like all of these matches, for the most part,
There could have been 3 4-star matches on this show.
Yep.
And so
Easily.
I just felt like there was a lot of wasted potential on this show, and it is fun and is definitely worth watching because 05 06 TNA, at least for me, is
Wow.
really fun.
Yeah.
Just so fun to watch. But yeah, B minus. It's middle of the road.
B minus a little bit above middle of the road, but
right there.
C is average. So that'd be an above average show. B
God,
minus.
what a
Fair
what a
enough,
studious man you
Yeah.
are.
Well, that was
What a scholar.
That was TNA.
So next week we got New Year's Revolution 2005.
Hate you.
And why do you hate me?
You're mean.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so
I quit.
I'll run down the card.
Greg, get in here.
Run down the card real quick. We got Eugene and William Regal versus
Classic.
the legendary tag team of Christian and Tyson Tomko. Trish Stratus versus Lita. Shelton Benjamin versus Maven. Muhammad Hassan with Daivari versus Jerry Lawler with Jim Ross.
Oh my god.
Kane versus Snitsky.
Oh no! What have we done?
And
Did Zach pick this?
It was between two shows, and we picked the better of the two cards.
Oh,
it was a committee decision.
but the main event looks pretty good.
you weren't involved.
Elimination
of
Chamber
course.
with Shawn Michaels as the referee. Triple H versus Batista versus Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho versus Edge versus Randy Orton.
All right, that's good.
That might make up for it.
That might be kind of a rough show, but it was better
Oh.
than the other New Year's Revolution card.
Yes, and also there is something to do with the Diva search, but I don't
Oh,
know.
Lord, no.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
All
sure
right.
that'll be great.
Well, we thank you guys for listening again. Have a great and a very safe
Happy New
Year's.
Year.
We hope
Get
you all
shitty.
have a fun time, and we love every single one of you guys. We'll see you in 2019. See you next year. That's 7.